He's alive!
Hello everyone, welcome to Drinking Age Movies, Just Born Movies. A film show we take films straight out of the Hollywood womb and we dissect them for you. This week with me,
David Wray.
David, what do we see?
This week we saw Traffik. With a K.
That's right. It's a backwards K if you look at the graphic.
Which I think is a strikeout looking, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Traffik is about a young woman journalist who's writing fluff pieces, and she gets to go on a wonderful birthday weekend with her significant other, and lo and behold, their best friends show up, and it goes downhill from there because they piss off a biker gang who are also sex traffickers.
What are you looking at?
You.
That is a hot rod.
Built it myself.
Where'd you learn that? The prison auto shop? Sweet ride, smoking peace in the store. You a ball player?
Not looking for any trouble.
Trouble? Can't hold a polite conversation?
Oh my God.
Get your...
Give me a minute. Sorry.
What are you doing in here?
Okay,
Let's go.
now.
The topic of the movie, sex trafficking in general of human beings, is a very important topic. I mean, there's no two ways about that. The story that was used to tell it, not so great.
Yeah, so this movie, I enjoy the film in the same way that I enjoyed the movie Unsane, in that it's really a thing that I think we occasionally move too far away from, which is films as a means to talk about social commentary. Unsane was the same way in talking about women's health and the Me Too movement. I feel like this movie achieves what it's trying to achieve in terms of making sure that this is a problem that's addressed and something that gets some actual attention that it needs.
Yeah, it basically shows you that it can be anybody.
Yeah.
And that these people are, well, they're bastards.
Yeah. Not the sex traffic people, the pieces of shit that sex traffic women.
Yeah. The traffickers, not the traffickees.
Yeah. So for that, I really enjoy the movie. I think it's something that legitimately as a society we need to talk about.
Absolutely.
Which I think might even be more pertinent now with the government kind of cracking down with FOSTA, getting rid of pretty much its act that allows the government to sue websites for things that go wrong through the use of those websites.
Yep.
They've done like a crackdown on Backpage.com, which is apparently a personals or pretty much a prostitution website, and companies like Craigslist has taken down their personals because they're afraid of the implications that could happen because of this.
Yep. Well, I mean, they did have that killer in Massachusetts a few years ago from Craigslist. I mean, technically, by this law, Craigslist themselves would be liable.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I mean, the government's willing to say, hey, if you're a part of the problem, we're going to go after you. But like it says in the movie, part of this problem is sheriffs and people in government and stuff who are either turning a blind eye or very much complicit in the events.
Yeah. And at least according to Missy Pyle, she's paying off a lot of these high-ranking officials because the end of the movie leads you to believe that there's senators involved and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a brilliant social commentary that I think needs to be talked about. I don't think the execution was necessarily the way that it should have been presented. The movie, in and of itself, I think makes some poor choices in terms of the way that we view the women characters. At one point, we're sitting there, we're watching the movie, and I'm telling David, like, is it necessary for every woman in this film to not be wearing a bra? Like,
yeah, I mean,
even casual scenes where, like, it's just two women talking, they're just not wearing bras. Like, why are we sexualizing these women if we're trying to push the agenda that, like, sex trafficking is a thing?
Yeah, and maybe that was part of the undertone of it, was they were trying to sexualize them in the non-sex trafficking side of it. So when we saw the sex trafficking side, it was more jarring. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, we have the conversation about Omar Epps and Malia hooking up at some point. There's 2 sex scenes between Paula Patton and Omar Epps.
Mm-hmm.
So sex is obviously, they show both sides of it. With the sex trafficking being obviously the bad side, and consensual sex,
committed relationship sex.
Yeah. But yeah, the sexualization just felt over the top.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if it was necessarily supposed to be like, hey, women can be sexual beings without being sexually put towards sexual predators or stuff like that.
Oh yeah, sorry to throw it all the way back, but Daryl even sexualizes the server at one point.
Yeah, like.
I mean, it's just. I think they were there for. I think that was all done for commentary reasons, looking at it, but the execution was off.
Yeah, which is a real shame because, like I said earlier, I think Omar Epps is critically underutilized in Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely.
He's an actor that I think could theoretically be a leading man in most genres. He's really great in almost everything he's in. He's not bad in this movie either.
Yeah, I don't think any of the actors or actresses were bad in this film. I just think the material they were given to work with is what hurt them.
Yeah.
The way scenes were executed, like we had a couple of times where we have a camera on somebody and then it just zooms in on them suddenly for no apparent reason.
Yeah, there's
and
no
it was
emphasis needed. Or...
Yeah, it was a very jarring because it's not like a gradual zoom and it's like boom, like we're 2 feet away from them and then we're like half a foot away from them, and it's very jarring.
Yeah. They go out to the mountain, and on their way there is where we get the kind of beginning of the animosity. They stop at this gas station, and she goes in to go get a Paul Workman, which is a Slurpee. Which is weird because it's not a 7-Eleven. It's just a gas station.
Yeah, it's probably actually an icy.
Yeah, it was probably icy, especially because they only had 2 flavors. They only had red and blue.
Yep, and as the movie asks, please answer this down in the comments below.
Yeah,
what flavor is blue?
What flavor is blue? Because it's a big question. For like 2 minutes, they're talking about what flavor is blue.
Yeah, it comes up between Omar Epps and Paula Patton, and it comes up between Paula Patton and one of the antagonists. They actually have 2 separate discussions on what flavor is blue.
That's right.
It's like Kool-Aid, where it's not cherry Kool-Aid, it's just red.
Mm-hmm.
Just nobody calls it cherry Kool-Aid, it's just red.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
But the thing is that there is indeed an answer because there's a sticker on the front of this icy machine. But let us know what your blue is. Spoiler within spoiler. Blue is blue raspberry according to this movie.
That's 100% what I thought.
Yeah. I think the music's alright. Just kind of laid tension throughout most of the movie, except for at the very beginning where we get a club scene. We get some top 40 trap music, stuff like that. It did its job, conveying kind of where we were and what we should be feeling. It never necessarily felt out of place.
They bill it as a thriller, but I never felt a ton of tension or thrill, so to speak.
Yeah,
in the movie. It was very plotting and a lot of points, a lot of predictability. Omar Epps' death was a surprise to me, but nothing else really was like, oh my god, that and the sheriff were really the only 2 like moments that I went, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, and I think the only reason Omar Epps affected us as much as it did is because he's the top billed man in this movie.
Yeah.
So to pretty much put him out...
Well, and then we've got that
maybe
whole...
40% way through the movie.
And you've got the whole underlying that she's gonna get proposed to, and these 2, they found each other, and...
Yeah, because the way that Hollywood works, we're expecting what is essentially a happy ending for the main characters, and... they don't get that necessarily.
Yep.
Even the way the film ends, Paula Patton may or may not get that happy ending. She gets her story out, but does
what
she
costs?
Yeah.
What are the costs of this?
And
she makes that point earlier on too in the movie when she's having the argument with the editor. The one thing that I thought cinematography wise that was great was the end credits. How everything was upside down.
Yeah.
They filmed all of the closing credits was basically a lot of 18-wheelers on California highway, but the shots were all upside down, and it was kind of a commentary to tell us to flip our view. Look at the underside of things. Our world is upside down.
That's right.
Without being blatant. And I thought that was brilliantly executed. The rest of the movie
and you
needed to take a cue from that.
You get that subtle nod with having the K being backwards in the name, because that's the end of the word, and the K's backwards, and it's small stuff like that I think helped the film, but I don't think there was enough of that small stuff for it to be a really great film. So cinematography was okay. It wasn't awful. There were some jarring moments, but
there were some miscues. There was a lot of jumping back and forth unnecessarily in scenes, like when we had Daryl outside and them inside. Like, he kept jumping to them just closing doors and staring at each other.
Yeah.
So, cinematography, they had their really brilliant moments, like the closing credits and stuff, and then they had their bad moments, too, which kind of really offset those great moments.
I think my biggest problem is that the best part of cinematography was at the end of the film during the credits, as opposed to anywhere in that film.
Yeah.
But the acting was all right. Nobody had any stand-up performances. There were no awful roles, though. Music, like I said, was okay. It got you to feel what I guess you should be feeling. Cinematography, like we said, was hit or miss, varying wildly. Based on our scale, unfortunately, I'm going to say this is just a damn average movie.
Well, the story was important. Execution was bad. Mediocre performance overall, even from Omar, because you could just tell that this was an important topic. He wanted to be there, but he just wasn't given enough really to work with. The cinematography at the end of the movie was great. The rest of it was jarring. I actually have to say this was a pretty damn bad movie.
Huh.
I'm not going to say it's damn awful, but it's pretty damn bad.
Alright, so, Traffik. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you wish you were on a lonely road? Leave a comment down below. Let us know. Also, don't forget, tell us what your blue flavor is. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Hit that bell notification, and if you're feeling really generous, hop on over to our Patreon to help us make some independent and unique and original content.
Yeah, that's at patreon.com/drinkingagemovies. Like to thank my guest. I guess we should do this now. Starting next week, this will be Just Born Movies.
Starring David Wray.
Yeah. Yes, next week I'll be his guest.
We're
Be
all
my
in
guest.
for a world of hurt.
That's right. Don't forget, while you're here on the channel, why not check out a couple of our other videos? We got former episodes of Just Born Movies, Drinking Age Movies, Damn Fine Meats, and our heavy drinking from last month, Westworld, where we delve into Wes Anderson. So, as always, whatever my new catchphrase is later.